Welcome to The Explainer. If you're someone who loves seeing how history, culture, and economics completely smash together, well, you are in for an absolute treat today. We're exploring the rich tapestry of Indian arts and crafts. We're talking about a millennia-old heritage of handmade traditions that stretch across the vast Indian subcontinent. This isn't just a look at some pretty objects, okay? It's a deep dive into the very fabric of human ingenuity. So let's jump right into this. 5,000. Think about that number for a second. When we talk about Indian arts and crafts, we aren't talking about some passing trend that popped up a few decades or even a few centuries ago. No, these crafts represent an unbroken 5,000-year-old lineage. We're tracing roots straight back to the ancient Indus Valley civilization. The techniques and the traditions we're about to unpack here, they have literally survived the rise and fall of empires, massive technological revolutions, and huge global shifts. Take a close look at this. Notice the decades of practice etched right into this master artisan's hands, perfectly mirroring those intricate patterns they're shaping into the wood. Indian arts and crafts go way beyond simple ornamentation. They're a profound expression of this incredibly diverse cultural and religious tapestry. They actually serve as a living bridge, connecting India's glorious past directly to its dynamic present. Every single chisel strike, every woven thread, it's an act of spiritual devotion. But at the same time, it's really about everyday utility and creating sustainable livelihoods for millions of people. Section 1. The Canvas of Regional Crafts. Now, as we zoom in on these distinct regions, you immediately see this totally fascinating contrast in storytelling. On one side, we have Warli art from Maharashtra. There is an incredible simplicity here, right? It's a rustic tribal art using basic white geometric shapes, circles, triangles, squares, painted directly onto mud walls to depict everyday life. Now compare that with Madhubani from Bihar and Patachitra from Odisha. The aesthetic completely flips. Suddenly we have these highly intricate, intensely colorful narratives packed with complex motifs, natural dyes, and grand mythological figures. Both are incredibly authentic Indian art forms, but they communicate in entirely different visual languages based on their unique geography and heritage. Okay, let's shift gears and talk about textiles, because India boasts one of the richest textile traditions on the entire planet. We are talking about centuries of mastering cotton, silk, and wool weaving. If you've ever seen a Banarasi or a Kanjivaram sari in person, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They are globally renowned for their heavyweight silk and that highly intricate, shimmering gold and silver brocade work. It's basically pure wearable architecture. But, the loom is really just the beginning. The surface treatments are where the magic really intensifies. We've got traditional block printing and dyeing techniques like kalamkari and bandhani. These rely on brilliant natural dyes and meticulously hand-carved wooden blocks, stamped over and over to create these beautiful rhythmic patterns. Now contrast that highly structural block printing with the fluid art of intricate embroidery. Regional styles vary immensely across the subcontinent. Up in Punjab, you have fulkari, which literally translates to flower work. It's vibrant, it's loud, and it's densely packed with color. Compare that to the delicate, almost whisper-thin shadow work of Lucknow's chikankari. Every single region has its own signature thread. And this mastery over raw materials is perfectly highlighted in their pottery. Ancient terracotta art ties all the way back to the Indus Valley, using raw clay to sculpt everyday utensils, or the majestic Bankura horses of West Bengal, or even the sacred Malala plaques of Rajasthan. It is earth and fire in its absolute purest form. But contrast that with Jaipur's famous blue pottery, and here is the really surprising twist. Blue pottery uses absolutely zero clay. Seriously, no clay at all. Instead, it's crafted from a special dough made of quartz powder, glass, and multani mitti, which is fuller's earth. Brought over by Turco-Afghan conquerors, it's distinctively decorated with those really vivid blue and turquoise Persian motifs. So you have two pottery traditions with entirely different chemical makeups. Speaking of chemistry, the alchemy of Indian metalcraft is just astounding. Take the dokra craft, prominent in central and eastern India. It utilizes an ancient, non-ferrous lost wax casting technique, and it results in these incredibly striking, somewhat rustic tribal figures. But conversely, if you travel down south to Karnataka, you'll find bidri ware. Now, bidri ware is a highly refined, almost mathematical process of intricate silver inlay, set against this stark, blackened alloy of zinc and copper, showcasing profound Persian influences. So it's rough, organic casting on one hand, versus this high-contrast, absolute precision inlay on the other. Let's broaden our view for a second to see how artisans sculpt nature's wider canvas, because the sheer variety of raw materials is just staggering. In woodwork, you have the deeply fragrant sandalwood carvings of Mysore, contrasting with the incredibly intricate walnut woodcraft of Kashmir. In stone carving, the monumental heritage of India is literally set in stone. We're talking everything from the elaborately carved temples of Khajuraho to the exquisite pietra dura, that's the marble inlay, of the Taj Mahal. And over in the northeastern states, artisans utilize highly sustainable bamboo and cane to create tightly woven, remarkably exquisite basketry and eco-friendly furniture that perfectly blends form and function. Now, beyond tools and architecture, we absolutely have to touch upon the art of adornment. Jewelry in India completely transcends mere fashion. It carries massive cultural, astrological, and spiritual weight. Whether it's the heavy, gem-encrusted kundan and vibrant enamel meenakari work of Rajasthan, or the intricate, deity-inspired temple jewelry of South India, these ornaments reflect a huge legacy of royal patronage and unmatched craftsmanship. Section 2. A massive economic engine. To really understand how these ancient crafts power the modern Indian economy, consider this. 7 million. Let that number sink in for a moment. The handicraft sector sustains over 7 million artisans. That is a staggering workforce. And crucially, a significant majority of these 7 million artisans are rural women. So this means these ancient crafts aren't just pretty cultural artifacts on a shelf. They are a massive critical driver of financial independence, world development, and genuine economic empowerment. If we break that population down, textiles and handlooms absolutely dominate the space, employing 55% of the workforce. This is followed by gems and jewelry at 20%, carpets and floor coverings at 15%, and metal, wood, and pottery making up the final 10%. Because of this massive footprint, the handicraft sector is actually the second largest employment generator in the entire country, second only to agriculture. That's a real game changer. And, they aren't just producing for local markets. In recent years, despite some intense global market fluctuations, Indian handicraft exports have shown incredible resilience, holding steady around 3.8 to 4.3 billion US dollars. So why is that? Well, it's because this growth is driven entirely by a rising, intense international demand for sustainable, ethically sourced, and handmade goods. Simply put, the world really wants what these artisans are making. Section 3. Modern Threats and Revival. So, on this modern battlefield, the biggest threat is, predictably, industrialization. Cheap, mass-produced, machine-made goods constantly threaten the livelihoods of traditional artisans, risking a steep decline in handmade skills that have literally taken generations to perfect. But the defense against this is equally strong. The government actively uses geographical indications, or GI tags, to legally protect regional crafts, things like Kanjivaram silk or Mysore sandalwood, from unauthorized replication. Furthermore, NGOs and digital e-commerce platforms are stepping in to provide direct-to-market access. This is huge because it eliminates exploitative middlemen and empowers the artisans directly. Finally, the global sustainable fashion movement is sparking a massive revival of interest in India's natural dyes, organic handlooms, and zero-waste craft techniques. Which brings us to our final thought. I want to leave you with this question to ponder as you look at the world around you today. In an era of endless, mechanized mass production, what is the true value of the human touch? When a craft takes 5,000 years to perfect, sustains millions of livelihoods, and carries the very soul of a culture in every single thread and carving, the value is simply immeasurable. Thank you so much for joining me on The Explainer today. Keep exploring and keep questioning the world around you.